Beneath the soft glow of the moon, Mary Jane, the gentle druid coyote, wandered through the sacred grove, their bleeding pink heart pulsing with the sorrow of ages. This was a sorrow not merely of their own, but of the earth, of the generations, of the quiet wounds carried by the roots, the rivers, and the winds. Every scar held memory. Each ache carried wisdom. The trees whispered their grief. The soil hummed its longing. And yet, Mary Jane did not turn away from the pain. They listened, they honored it, they let it bloom. Soft pink tears slipped down their fur, not as a sign of weakness, but of courage. The kind of courage that can sit in sorrow, cradle it, and transform it. The moment the tears touched the ground, roses bloomed, each one holding the essence of divine feminine healing. Their petals trembled as if they had something to say, something ancient yet new, something waiting to be remembered. The wind carried their fragrance beyond the grove, drifting into the corridors where the masters of war dwelled. These towering halls of iron had long been impenetrable, fortified by conquest, greed, and the refusal to feel. But the roses pressed into the cracks, vines curling against rusted armor, mercy weaving itself through the cold resolve that had ruled for too long. At first the warriors resisted. They clutched their cruelty like an anchor, fearing what would come if they let it slip. But the roses would not be denied. They whispered the forgotten truth, the truth that suffering does not make one strong, nor does domination bring peace. Then came the breaking. It started as a tremble, a quivering deep in their bones, but soon their eyes burned with something foreign, recognition. The weight of their deeds curled around their throats, demanding acknowledgement, until finally they fell to their knees. Their own tears began to flow, thick and unrelenting, streaking through the masks of power they had worn for far too long. They wept not for conquest, not for loss, but for the harm they had inflicted. They wept for the children, the ones who had inherited war before they had even learned how to dream. They wept for the land, scarred and aching beneath their boots. They wept for the rivers, once clear, now heavy with the burden of forgotten prayers. And the void welcomed their sorrow, swallowing it whole, leaving behind only the rawness of truth. Only in surrender did love return, unconditional, like the tide, like the rhythm of the earth, like the heartbeat of all things that have ever known gentleness. Mary Jane stepped forward, their bleeding pink heart glowing with warmth. They gathered the children beneath their protection, wrapping them in the embrace of divine feminine energy. And for the first time in lifetimes, these young souls were safe. Their innocence would no longer be collateral. Their futures would no longer be stolen. Here, in the warmth of the pink heart, they could dream again. And as the roses bloomed in the souls of all sentient beings, the earth exhaled, its wounds beginning to mend. The divine feminine, long silenced, had awakened fully, cradling the world in an embrace that could never be undone. And at last, the world dared to love once more, unconditionally, eternally, rematriated in heart, in soil, in sky, forever. Peace, my friends. I hope you really are taking these stories to heart. I'm doing this for you. I'm putting everything I got into this work. And I do it unconditionally. I'm not getting paid for this. This is free love.